is training the skilled biomanufacturing workforce through innovative internships in protein manufacturing. And the title of his presentation is Training the Future Biotech Workforce Through Authentic Research Projects and Internships. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Aron Kamajaya.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here, everyone. Hi, my name is Aron Kamajaya, and I am the program director for the biotechnology training program at Los Angeles Pierce College, Aspire. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we utilize Authentic Research Project to train the future biotech workforce. So before I begin, I want to give a quick shout out to the InnovATEBIO, which have been very instrumental to build our network. We started from nothing with no connection, and then we were plugged into the InnovATEBIO, and we get connected to the several people that led to the grant, to our very first NSF grant that we have. And that sort of catalyzed the growth of our program, not just financially, but also we gains a lot of traction, a lot of what is it called, buy-in from the administration, as well as the lawmaker, and even we get a visit from this the director of the Office for Science and Technology Policy in the White House. So this one, Dr. Arati Prabhakar. So if you are not connected to InnovATEBIO, make sure you do so, otherwise you're gonna be missing out. Okay, so if you want to learn more about our program, there's a QR code that you can scan, and then it take you directly to our website. And what I'm gonna do right now is first I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our program, and then I actually have a student with me right now, Mia, who is right here, that's gonna talk to you about a little bit about her project. So if you've been in the ATE PI meeting this October, you attended my session. You heard from 3 of our students. So Mia is going to be a different project that hopefully can illustrate how we use the project to train the student. So okay, our biotechnology training program consists of stackable certificate with 2 biotech specific course. We call it Biotechnology 1 and Biotechnology 2, plus a chemistry class. You can get a low unit certificate. If you take 2 more classes, microbiology, and complete 1 more class with microbiology and complete 162 hours of internship or independent project, you get a higher unit certificate. And you take several more classes, including the general education, you can get the associate degree. Now, our biotechnology training program focuses more on research and development. So we actually work with our 4-year research institution partner locally. So that's a lot of our students who finished the program, they went on and pursue the research at the research institution. They can go to University of California and other states school like California State. In addition to that, we do have in the state, we do have a program that focuses more on the manufacturing path, which is the production side of the biotech, the biomanufacturing. Just recently, we received approval to offer the baccalaureate degree in biomanufacturing along with 4 other colleges in California, community colleges in California. So what about the program growth? So this is sort of like the timeline of our program. So we started out with the grant started out in September 2021. And in the first year, we did some planning stage. It took us a year. We opened our internship door immediately in September, but we did not open our door for the training program until the second year, which is the fall 2022. So in this fall 2022, we in the academic year 2022-2023, we have 1 entry cohort right there. So we only have 1 entry cohort per year. And then in the second year, we did the same thing, and our class also filled. So in the first cohort, fall 2022 and the fall 2023, we were able to fill our class, which is 20 out of 20. And in the second year here, in the fall 2023, we also have a lot of people in the waiting list, to the point that we have to turn away some people because we are maxed out in terms of our classroom capacity. But that's back a question whether we can open up another entry course the following semester, which we did in the spring 2024, and the class filled as well. And at the same time, we also opened up our very first dual enrollment in high school at Van Nuys with a special arrangement. This is another thing that I'm learning as we go. High school have a different need, so we have to work with them in terms of scheduling. And in this case, we have a special arrangement where we split that class into 2 semesters, which is strange for a lot of community colleges, including my admin, but nevertheless, it can be done. And then, so essentially in the year 3, we tripled the number of offering for our entry-level course, which if you include the high school one. Now, right now we're in the 3rd year, so we still offer entry cohort in the fall as well as in the spring. The one at Van Nuys dual enrollment, we modified it. Now we are ready. We offering biotech class in 1 semester, but we also have a different high school, which sort of trying it out first with splitting this biotech 1 into 2 semesters. So essentially, in the 3rd year, we quadrupled the offering of our entry-level course. So so we have currently served 107 students entering the training program with 83 plus interns. In terms of the number of the students, here's the table to illustrate or to show you the number of students we serve. This is the number of unique students who completed at least 1 biotech course in a year. So it's a unique number of students. And then this is the 2nd year number of students we serve. This is the year-over-year increase. The last row over here only show the number only for up to the fall semester. So we have not included the spring 2025 number in this academic year column. So if we project this to be about between 85 to 90% year-over-year increase compared to year number 2. So from the 3 years alone, we essentially almost quadruple the number of students we serve per year. So so where do we get our student? How do we recruit our student? I also showed this in the ATEBI meeting, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So essentially, the take-home message from here is we got most of our students from the recruitment that's involved direct conversation. So I know some flyer, social media help, but in our experience, direct communication is the best way to recruit a student. It can, for us, it's from me visiting classroom, talking to the student, and working with colleagues so that they can also vouch for our program, recommend our program, and so on and so forth. Working with high school teacher, this is mostly our dual enrollment side. And then also at alumni is very helpful, including someone who is here with us, Mia, as I can tell you also. Yeah, so our students apparently recruit each other. So that's something that we learned from our student here. So now I'm gonna switch gear to give you a glimpse about our classroom. So the first one is the Biotechnology 1 class. In this class, students learn about the fundamental of how to work in the lab. So that includes lab safety, documentation, also basic technique like how to work in biosafety cabinet like this, or how to prepare media, including specialized media. And this is actually to highlight our working collaboration with the microbiology department, particularly the lab tech, highlighting the importance of being collegial in the lab, in the campus in general. People work in teams, and also we give them opportunity to present about particular biotech equipment. So it's not like me or the biotech professor explaining about how the micropipette works. So instead, we give that opportunity to the students so they can go explore what that is, how to use them, and then they are the one who present in the classroom. And then as an instructor, we fill in the information through the question and answer Q&A toward the end. If they're missing something, we ask them at that time. So we also introduce them to business aspect of biotechnology, like, for this one here, just to illustrate you, this is actually the one we did in high school to calculate the cost of production. How does it cost to make, I don't know, 1 LP agar plate or something like that? And that gives us opportunity to talk about the cost of production, workforce costs, and also profit margin, as well as the indirect costs, things like that. So we also introduce students to the quality concept of GMP and quality using popcorn. This is actually the activity introduced to us by Dr. Terry Quenser, who I was involved in a project with her before. This is really good, actually. The student learn how the about GMP, food manufacturing practices, using popcorn. So the lab smells really good, students are happy, but we don't allow them to eat the popcorn afterwards. Anyway, okay, in the second course is what make our program different. This is where they are working on their independent project. First, the first couple of weeks, we started them off with biomanufacturing using tag polymerase, producing tag crude extract, and then QC them using PCR, doing some PCR works, that the protocol that we optimize. If you are interested to adopt this activity, feel free to talk to me or Dave Miklos at DNA Learning Center. We work with him. So again, talk to us about that if you are interested. But essentially, right during that biomanufacturing activity, the student also get a chance to form their idea, what research project they want to take on, develop the timeline like this, and then they present it in a class. So we ask them to create a Gantt chart for project management style. This is one of our students who just get a research position at Caltech right here. So we also have a student right here. This is our high school student who just get early admission to Johns Hopkins. So our student going to places apparently. So yeah, so at the end of this, after that project, after the biomanufacturing module, they got to do their lab experiment, their own project, and this is how we assess them. We have some formative assessment, summative assessment, a lot of presentation, project proposal, and so on and so forth. At the end, they will have to present their poster in our annual symposium, annual biotech symposium like this. The type of project we have is mostly collaborative. This one is usually industry partner come donate some equipment, like what you're gonna hear today from Mia, donate a robot, for example, like this, a pipette robot, and the student will do that themselves. So usually what we usually do is simply give them the user manual or protocol. Here, go figure it out yourself, and they have to ask a scientific question what they want to do with their project using that equipment. So this is for another example how we get this cell growth quantifier and liquid injector system as a part of the BioMate project. And there are 2 students who use the same equipment but for 2 different scientific questions. So that's how we do it. And then we also have the pre-veterinarian student who use DNA barcoding to look at lice. This is something that's very interesting. She collect the lice from goat, not from human. So it's very interesting. I learned so much about goat lice. And anyway, and then of course we have the project, the tag polymerase that's published. We published them. If you went to API conference, you probably have met Helen and Ina presenting their projects there. So we also try to recently we got a new ATE project working with our industry partner to provide next generation DNA sequencing activity to the biotechnology classroom. But we actually use this technology to strengthen our network with the high school partner, because we as I mentioned to you, we learned from our project that the best way to recruit students is through direct interaction. But people like me is not gonna be. I'm not gonna have a big presence in high school. So in order to increase our reach, so we have a champion, if you will, then you have to raise that champion in the high school. And then this through this project, we are hoping to raise this champion that can vouch and can help us, recruit students. So this is one of the project that's ongoing. We have not started the real activity yet, mostly just paperwork right now with our administration, but it's coming in the next academic year. So stay tuned. So if you went to the ITEBI conference, you met Marcelo, Rukaya, and Andrew. Talk about they have posters. So I'm not gonna spend time here except just to illustrate what they've done. Marcelo here is actually a political science major student. So he's interested in biotech because he see the opportunity in the particular in the patent law space. So he did a project on DNA barcoding on ants, collecting ants, taking picture, and it's really interesting. I'm not gonna go through it in detail. We also have Rukaya working on a collaborative project with Caltech. This is a gas vesicle which has a lot of interest from many people, including Department of Defense, apparently, for a possible future non-invasive diagnostic tool. We also have this Andrew doing a project of antibody engineering. This is a part of our other grant with Sandy Porter and the digital world biology. Again, doing a lot of this assay development, something like that. But today I'm going to illustrate another type of collaboration. So here, one of our industry partner give us a donation of this robot, and then another company, OpenTron, who actually manufactured this robot, decided to donate more to us and have a workshop in our college. So we get a lot of donation, like the thermal cycler, multi-channel pipette, and things like that. And basically, I need to learn how to use them. So, but for my student, I just give them the manual. This is how you use it, and then let them play with it. And sadly speaking, sadly for me, that is, they actually get not sadly, is they actually getting a lot better in operating this machine than I. So this so this is kind of like embarrassing and in one thing, because but at the same time, we are happy that they can actually take that learning to the next level for themselves. So today, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my student, Mia, who is here, and she's gonna talk about how she used this machine to do a collaborative project where she tried to solve a problem. This is more like an engineering project, if you will. So without further ado, let me turn you to Mia. So I'm gonna share another slide. Okay, let's see. Okay, Mia, can you are you here? Yes.
Yes, hi. Yes.
Here you go.
Sorry, do I share my screen or are you gonna bring it up for me?
I can play it for you.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Easy.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. So today I have the honor of talking about a project that I've spent the last 4 months on, which I'm very excited about, and it has to do with automation with this lovely machine you see on the screen, the Opentron. So the Opentron's purpose is to automate common applications of liquid handling. So anything you can do with a pipette, this can do for you as long as you program it correctly to do so. A couple of the benefits of using this machine, consistency. We're all prone to human error. This robot takes away your human error and says, I'm gonna do exactly what you told me to do, step by step, and precisely, which is amazing. And then another thing is labor. So people time versus real time. When it comes to this robot, the only thing I have to do is connect it to my computer, set up everything I need within the machine and get it going. And then I can walk away, I'm free to do whatever I want. The protocol will end when it ends, and I don't even have to be there when it ends. It'll just stop. So that frees up my time to do other things, work on another project, take a break and whatnot, which is amazing. Dr. K, if you could go to the next slide, please. So I decided to, once I heard about this amazing new robot we had, I'm actually an engineering major, so I decided to go and head towards an engineering-based project. So the Tiny Earth project is a project that Dr. K has had a couple sessions now for people to work on, and it's a project that I think was started by an NSF grant and is now continued on to become very useful in other schools, and for undergrad students it's a way to get into the lab. It has to do with collecting soil samples and finding antibiotic activity from those soil samples. And what's amazing about this project is that the antibiotic activity, it's just absolutely amazing. It's so cool. And I actually wanted to work on this project to begin with, but I heard about the Opentrons. I was like, how do I merge the two? So as you can see here, this is a flow chart of the process of which you find antibiotic activity through the soil. And I decided to automate the isolation of bacteria to then testing that bacteria onto the antibiotics. And basically, this process is really tedious because not only do you have to make a master plate with a grid that you have to draw on that sections out your bacteria, but then you have to test all that bacteria onto probably 3 or 4 plates of antibiotics and more as you continue on and find more antibiotics. So picking and patching and this whole process usually takes people a while. It's a little hard. You can't pick up too much because then you won't have enough for the rest of your plates and whatnot. So I wanted to use the Opentrons to automate this protocol. That way I could eliminate some sources of error that people were having. And then the Opentrons was not compatible with a circular Petri dish, so I ended up having to use a square one, which also eliminated the need to draw on a grid because I found a square Petri dish that had a grid on it already. So Dr. K, if you go to the next slide, this is some background. So this is the Opentrons protocol designer. What's amazing about the Opentrons is you don't need to know how to program or code anything. They have an amazing user database that you can, it's easy to use and you can go ahead and design protocols through that. As you can see here, this is a setup of a protocol that I had created for the Tiny Earth project, where I have a master plate with bacteria on it, which is the colored plate you see on there. And then right next to it is a 96 wall plate with LB. And the purpose of this was I was going to pick up bacteria from the master plate and transfer it into LB, resuspend that bacteria so that I can then use the pipette to pipette 10 microliters onto the plate you see, which is the grid that's blank, the white grid on the bottom there. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you guys a little video of the process. So this is the first half of the protocol where it's picking up off a master plate and mixing into LB. And this is with the protocol that you saw on the last page over there. And this process turned out to be super cool and it was hard to get to, but I finally got there and it was amazing to see. So that's the first half. And then the second video here is a video of the second half of the protocol where it then picks up from the LB and it will then dispense onto the Petri dish so that you can then grow it in an incubator and see whether or not your antibiotic worked with the bacteria, or if bacteria grew on your antibiotic. So here are my results. As you guys can see, so the master plate was tested with a previous protocol that I had tweaked a little bit, but I then used that master plate for my final round, which then yielded this antibiotic plate, which you guys saw in the video. As you can see, precision-wise, the robot's pretty precise. I mean, the diameters look around the same. I used colored bacteria, so as you guys can see, you get a little cool colored grid on your plate. There was no antibiotics on this plate, but just for the purpose of testing the protocol, I'm going to call this my antibiotic plate. And as you guys saw in the video, the master plate was used. It got bacteria picked up from it into LB, and then it got dispensed onto the antibiotic plate, which means the bacteria was picked up, the resuspension worked, and the protocol was a success. And yeah, I was very happy. It was around 4 months of working on this project, a project which, by the way, as Dr. K said, the Opentrons was a completely new device to me. I had never seen anything like it, never used it before. You know, there was a learning curve to the process, and it was amazing to use. And hopefully, if you guys would like to learn more, I'm in the process of writing a paper on it. So, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Aron and Mia. At this time, we would like to move on to our second Project Talk speaker. Our second Project Talk speaker is Dr. Karen Leung, and her ATE project is a collaborative approach to work-based learning in biotechnology, building inclusive lab environments. And the title of her presentation is Workplace Navigation, Empowering Student Success in the Workplace. And thank you so much, Dr. Leung.
Hi, thank you, Dion. Thank you, InnovATEBIO, for giving me an opportunity to talk today about the work I've been doing at City College of San Francisco in collaboration with UCSF. As Dion said, so I'm going to talk to you predominantly about workplace navigation, which many of you may have heard of at some other point. Sort of a little bit I'm coming from another community college in California, but one that at this point has quite a long history in biotechnology. So very impressed at Aron's work in building a really fast growing program with so much recruitment. I'm going to talk to you kind of about sort of where we have been after building a biotech program for many years, and sort of the next stage of our evolution and thinking about especially work-based learning and what we feel like our students need, and maybe you might feel some of your students might be interested in. And so I realize many of you probably have familiarity with City College of San Francisco, but I'm going to tell you quickly about the program and kind of the challenge that we saw, what we developed to address that challenge, and then at the end talk about how you might be able to access that resources and training that we've developed as an intervention to that challenge. So the City College of San Francisco Biotechnology program really built, as most people are familiar with, a technical skills training program. That was the original intent. Fairly soon afterwards, this was before my time being at City College, a work-based learning program, internship program, and then also started adding in these pieces around employability skills and a support course for those interns. So thinking sort of a little bit more building pieces that Aron's already put in place very early in his program, but for students. And this was 17 years ago or so that this started happening. And then one of the things where I came in about a decade ago was to really help support the internship program, which I've been dedicated to for many years now. And one of the things we recognized and became really interested in around the workplace, around the internship program, was that the success that happened for our students, almost always the students that had the most successful experiences, it always almost always came down to the fact that they had a really good working relationship with the person who was supervising them or managing them, mentoring them, depending on like the terminology you would like to talk about. So that really became clear that that was foundational to success. And so we would have students who did really well in the classroom, and we thought they were going to be amazing and go into an internship and everything was going to be great. And things maybe didn't work out quite as well as we thought. And then we would see the reverse as well, which is that we would have students who, yeah, they did okay in classes. We weren't quite sure. We were at the edge, like, oh, should we have them in the internship? And they'd go in the internship and just kill it and get a job offer right afterwards. And again, so we were like, so what's going on here, right? What's the linchpin here? And again, it really felt to us that it was about this working relationship, which as soon as we start to think about that for our own lives becomes pretty clear, right? When we have managers and supervisors and bosses that are really supportive of us, we tend to succeed. And when we don't, it becomes extraordinarily difficult despite any capacity on our end to do all of the work properly. So, in light of that, about 8 years ago, we brought together a group between City College of San Francisco and the University of California, San Francisco, to start working on this and seeing if we could build, actually initially just thinking about how we could build better mentors. That was sort of the first start. How can we make all of our mentors amazing mentors that are going to support our students and everything will be great or better? We'll talk about the workplace navigation, which was sort of the next step of that process. But this is who's on here. It's me, Karen Leung from City College. I'm an adjunct faculty member and a coordinator of the internship program. And then James Lewis, who now works for Career Services, had really been one of the founding members of bringing up the Bridge to Biosciences at CCSF, City College of San Francisco. And then we really came together with UCSF, especially with Naliti Saul and the Office of Career and Professional Development, in thinking about how to improve these work-based learning relationships. And so I'm going to put this in a nutshell so that I can get through it quickly, and there'll be questions, and you have questions for Aron, and then maybe some questions for me. But just to sum it up in a nutshell, we developed a mentor-manager training on the UCSF side to train scientists predominantly how to manage more effectively. Because for those of you who maybe have come up through academe, you might recognize that management training is not part of the academic lexicon generally when you're getting your PhD. And this was a lot of what we saw, what was missing potentially in scientists supporting new budding scientists. And then we started to also we recognized that as much as we hoped that all of our students would have mentors that had gone through this training and developed great practices in building supportive environments and setting their trainees up for success, that this was not always going to be the situation. And so we realized that our students also needed the reverse, sort of the other side of the coin training, parallel training, which we've called workplace navigation training, which is how to sort of assess what kind of management they are getting and how do they manage up when they're not maybe being fully set up to succeed. And so over the last 8 years, we've had 2 NSF ATE projects. We're excited and hopeful to have a third one coming down the pipeline. I'll talk about at the very end. In that time, the mentor-manager training, we've had more than 1,500 scientists participate in that training from 70 biotech organizations and over 40 academic institutions. We've had over 350 community college students and faculty from over 30 community colleges participate in the workplace navigation training. I'm just going to very quickly talk about the mentor manager training and sort of the highlights, but I won't go into depth. If you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. And so the goal of that training is to provide every scientist with the training, support, and accountability they need to successfully sort of negotiate and navigate their roles as a mentor, a trainer, and a supervisor to lead productive and healthy labs or teams. This is currently a 8-module training. It's usually a synchronous online training, although we do now go into organizations to give this training as well. And somehow I thought I missed. There we go. And so that's the set of training. It is fundamentally based on a few frameworks, but I'm going to show you the 2 predominant ones. One is the manager protocol, which is an overview of management responsibilities, and we delve deeply into some of the really most core responsibilities of a manager and give scientists really practical tools to implement these. And then that is layered over with inclusivity and sort of the idea of what practical steps can these scientists do to make sure that their lab environments are inclusive and supportive of all the people that come through their door. Just again, very short highlights. The over 90% of those who have attended the trainings have said it was a good use of their time. It was relevant. Our last grant was really about bringing this to industry, kind of moving it past academia. And we basically found it was very relevant in industry as well. And so there was lots, the 92% plus felt it also prepared them to be a better manager, mentor of diverse trainees, and felt that it was needed, this type of training was needed in their organization. Approximately 2 months later, after we contacted many of these people who did the training, 78% had shared something from the training, and 43% had actually changed their actions and behaviors, and reported that the training had impacted procedures in their workplace. And so I'm not going to read you all these quotes, but we've had lots of attendees from a variety of different organizations. Actually, I'm just going to move past this, but I can point you to a place if you want to read those quotes as well. But both from UCSF faculty from other colleges, universities as well, and then companies such as Denali and Amgen. Just to wrap that part up, and I'm going to move to the workplace navigation. The training has really been embedded at UCSF as sustainable. The administration has said that they will continue to offer the training in spring and fall, and offer it externally for fees for industry and academia. If you're interested, I'll try to drop this link towards the end as well. If anybody wants to learn more about this training, one of the things that I am excited about, and hopefully if we're going to continue to, looks like we're going to get maybe a third ATE project to continue to work on this, is that we will have open spots for free for community college faculty and staff, and community college alumni that are thinking about moving into management as well. Okay, so that piece, I will move into the workplace navigation training, which is the reason why I'm mostly here to talk to you, because that's where what we're really building up right now. The goal of this training, which is again the parallel of the mentor-manager training, is to provide students with the knowledge, skills, support, and clarity they need to effectively assess and successfully navigate lab environments, and sort of really thinking of focus on their own goals and values. This training is 4 workshops currently, so 4 modules, and they cover this predominant sort of list of information and skills that we want our students to have, and we felt have become really important. I'm going to read through them very quickly, just because otherwise, why did I put a list here? So it's really 3 stages, thinking about selecting where students would like to be, right? Transitioning them into that space, and then progression, because right to the next stage of their career. And so around selection, it's utilizing the interview to determine a potential bad fit or toxic work environment, or you could think of the reverse, which is to find a good fit. Define the workplace environment and circle of support that student needs to succeed. Helping students learn to design interview questions to determine if a workplace is in alignment with what their goals and priorities are. And then once they're in the workplace, to help have tools and frameworks to assess their work styles and those of their supervisor, assessing the managerial capacity of the person who's supervising them and where they might need to manage up, assessing the functionality in general of the team and organization, identifying gaps in expectation, their understanding of expectations, being able to proactively engage to clarify those expectations and obtain actionable feedback, effectively engaging in challenging conversations with their supervisor, building a professional circle of support. And then when thinking about progressing and moving to the next stage, thinking about being able to articulate the transferable competencies, which many of you, I'm sure, are also very much engaged in, developing a coherent story of their recent work experience, but really importantly, having time and reflection to analyze that recent experience and determine what structures and practices or engagement that they had that both supported and hindered their success in that environment, so that they can really start to learn more about themselves and like what is going to help them move forward more quickly and successfully at whatever the next position that they take, and how will they start to look for that and find it. So that's the overall set of skills that are developed in those 4 modules that we have available. We've also been building those were the trainings. We've also been building tools and resources for students to implement these skills or test these skills out during the internship experience. And just one is this is a paper that we recently published, which is called the Expectation Clarity Tool, which helps students really specifically think about what expectations do they know, which ones still need to be clarified. So they can kind of do that systematically. And I'll drop a link for that in the chat. And I'll drop links a little bit in a minute for some of the other stuff. But just to give you some information on the impacts of the workplace navigation training, when we've embedded it into our internship program, so students are taking the training at the beginning of or at the very early stages of the internship, what we found over the last 4 years is that 98% of those interns, those students, felt that they could trust their supervisor. 95% felt that they could share difficult information with their supervisor. This was definitely something we had challenges with prior to this training. 100% understood what was expected of them, and 95% felt that the tools from the training increased their confidence or positively impacted their internship. On the mentor supervisor side, some of the mentors and supervisors had taken the mentor manager training that we had, some had not, but 91% of them felt that they could trust their intern. 97% said they would provide a positive recommendation for their intern. 94% said that they were interested in hosting another community college intern, and 74% felt that the tools positively impacted their relationship with their intern. And then additionally, we've had people just come to the training, so we've embedded it into our program. We've also welcomed and opened it up to other people to come to the training. And so that's where the additional couple hundred people have come from. And so surveys from those trainings with people attending from 150 plus is that 97% of students and 94% of faculty said that there was a need for this training for community college students, that 93% of students planned to implement the tool, at least one tool from the training, and 100% of faculty said they wanted to share the materials to their students. And that is all great because it's sort of the immediate impacts of the training, but then we also really wanted to look at longer term impacts. And so we surveyed the alumni who are now out and working in biotech, anywhere up to 3 years post-training and being in the internship program, and found that 95% of those interns who completed the survey reported that the training was critical or very important to their success in biotech, and that 97% said it was critical or very important for students to have free and direct access to this training. Again, I'm not going to read all the quotes. I'll read one because it's a student quote or an alum quote from the middle. I learned to assess the work styles of my superiors to better meet their expectations. Engaging openly with my boss and peers about my preferred work strategies and seeking help helped prevent misunderstandings and ensured that deadlines were met efficiently. And so we've been really excited about this and wanting to make sure that this is really accessible and scalable. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but I want to let you all know that we do have a training that's coming up, a series. It's virtual and free to any community college student, any community college alum, any community college faculty or staff member who would like to attend. I'm going to drop the link to the registration in chat, and I will show you the series in just a second. But they start on February 7th. Again, same day. I'm actually coming back to talk about speed networking if you're coming back to the ATE InnovATEBIO projects. But we also have a whole series of resources on our webpage also that you can check out, and I'll drop that link in a second. And so this is the workshop series that will be part of that includes the workplace navigation training. There are other things that we do at City College of San Francisco. And so the workplace navigation trainings have been built into this bioscience career preparation series, which along with the 4 workshops that I discussed that make up the workplace navigation, also includes a presentation by Sandy Porter on biotech careers and how to navigate biotech careers, the website, and a resume and interview preparation workshop by Dr. Ron Sesek, and also, maybe not surprisingly, for those who know me, a speed networking event at the end to cap it off. Just to wrap up where we do see this, we got notification. We're sort of in negotiation around the proposal we just put in this last October for workplace navigation. And because what we've seen is that we've been able to build sustainability around the mentor manager training because we were able to offer it for pay. So now we have companies and other universities who are paying to attend the training, and that's maintaining its sustainability. But we do not believe that that is the place for workplace navigation, that community college, this should be free and accessible. And so the next grant will be really making that transition. And so we will be having continuously these synchronous virtual workshops, but we are going to also build it into Canvas as a platform to just have the modules that any program hopefully can use across the country. And we're going to be working with at least 15 different community college programs that are part of the ATE community, and thinking about how we can make sure this is relevant to all of those programs and easily accessible. So that's kind of the next plan. And we will be creating hopefully, if we get funded, a workplace navigation hub that'll be part of the InnovATEBIO hubs so people can access all of those materials going forward. And with that, there's 10 minutes left for questions.
Thank you, Karen. And if you don't mind, okay, there you go. You jumped up. And so, yes, we have about 10 minutes for a Q&A for either Aron, Mia, or Karen. And again, if you could either use the raise your hand function or just speak up, or we can also go back to the chat. There were a couple of conversations going on that we could go back to.
Well, I put something in chat. Should I ask it? Unless anyone jumps in. So, one thing I realized, Karen, so I have to tell you, I've already gone online and I've signed up for everything. And I don't think it conflicts with any meetings. But the one thing, as I realize, we have our students looking for internships in the second year, and we make them somewhat responsible for it. So I have to admit, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I think I would definitely put that kind of training in, even as we tell them they need to look for internships, because that will help them do that. And then their expectations. I think this is perfect because the one problem we've had once in a while is the expectations of the student and of the person who's going to be their mentor. Those are the hardest things to match up. So I think this is perfect.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad you signed up. I dropped a link for the resources we have. I think there's been different ways we've played with what the timing is in CCSF's programming of when this comes in. What I'm really hoping is, as we build it into Canvas, that then each program can really take that on for themselves and determine what modules, what content is relevant at what time for everybody. Because yeah, I think it will, the one that's on utilizing an interview to determine good fit. It's actually funny if you look at the series, it's the last one we have, but that's because most students are going into their summer internships. So we wanted it closer to when people are thinking about interviewing, but that may not be it. Actually, I have another program where people are going to be interviewing in the next month. So it's not a good fit for them. So being able to move that around, but really that one in particular would be a great one to have before thinking about moving into an internship.
Any other questions? I have lots of questions, but I don't want to hog Karen because I can see Karen a lot of different times.
And you had questions for Aron too, Lene, I saw in
Yeah,
the chat.
I'm sorry. Oh, also, yeah, any questions for Aron? Don't be shy.
Well, Linnea, you actually had something for Aron about placement rates.
Oh, and he answered it. It's a transfer program. So thanks, Aron. He answered my question. I appreciate that. I think that's really good. I personally feel that Karen's material should be incorporated in programs, definitely. The other thing I see it useful for is we have our students, especially in the second year, do a lot of projects and teamwork. This really applies to teamwork too. And, getting people to work well in teams is probably, at least for our advisory board from industry, is like the #1 thing they complain about.
Yeah, the work styles piece I think can be really helpful. And part of the reason I've really wanted to get this out there is Nalidi Saul, who drives all of the content. Her background is in organizational management. She's led a team for 20 plus years. She's been a chief. I'm not gonna say she's like the oh my goodness, I'm chief of staff. So she's been chief of staff for like over 35 managers with over 100 reports underneath her. So she has a capacity and understanding that I certainly don't in any scientific training of really thinking about organizational management and the types of structures that people and information people need to be able to navigate that. So much of that I'm just really going to push on her and say, I wanted that type of content for all of our students. If this was being built out for UCSF graduate students and postdocs, I'm like, that's great. But our students need it and really hopefully give them a leg up. Yeah. And it's hard to see how other people would have access in our community as much to someone who has that type of depth of knowledge in that space, in that management space.
Aron, I had a question for Aron. You said most of your recruiting was like face-to-face, right? And you mentioned like high school counselors and like, what do you do? Do you just go in there and talk to them or? Yeah, that's that easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I start with email, but then out of like 100 or so email, I get 0 most of the time.
Yes.
So what I did for a few of them that actually resulted in something is actually I went there physically. I went going to the high school, bringing my flyer, going to that office, I don't know, the front office or something, and start handing it down. And then when I was lucky, I get to talk to their AP, assistant principal, in charge of scheduling, things like that. Get connected to the magnet coordinator. Also work with the Amgen Biotech Experience. This is like the organization that's supplying free equipment to high school, and from them I get connected to high school teacher, and that's basically what the relation starts. So
nice. It's organic. Yeah, I agree. I liked your whole flyer issue. Like nobody looks at those anymore. Yeah, you have to kind of like be there in person and like sell it, right? And you have to believe in it to sell it. But yeah. Cool. Thanks.
I have a question, Aron. You showed your program growth, and then Karen, you talked about having workplace training. And so how did you all determine to incorporate those aspects of student support?
Aron, would you like to go first?
Oh, okay, for me?
I think for both of us, right, Dion? So
you can want to go first?
Okay. Yeah. Aron, you talked about program growth, and then it's so hard for you basically think about retention and completion. And so how do you attribute the growth in your program? And then, with Karen, your completers, before they're completing, you're offering this workplace training. And so, so again, it's student support services, and aside from your colleges maybe doing something similar, why did you all determine to do it within your programs?
I guess I can a little bit. I mean, I don't have a good answer for that, and this is partly because we're still building the program. Kind of like someone told me, when you build a biotech program, it's like you're flying an airplane and building it at the same time. So a lot of the student support are not in place perfectly yet, but then we were able to get embedded tutor that's helping me with, student having question about where to find the equipment or where to find the reagent or how to do their project, how to find protocol. So we do have that in place right now, but it's I think it's still far from perfect. So.
For me, with the workplace navigation training, coming into a community college program, so the CCSF Biotech program and especially the internship program has very little parameters around what students need to do to prepare for that. It's a fairly short program. So students can do as little as a semester's worth of biotech program, like classwork, and then go directly into the internship. So when I came in and all these wonderful people had been building it before, Laurence Clement, Ying Su Lo, just recognizing it was a great program. It was extremely solid already, but what we've built out of it has really been a matter of the fact that those students are coming, as many of our programs are, but are just coming from this very broad background. And so looking at what student supports are necessary across a very large segment of different students, right? From different age groups, different educational backgrounds, different interests in where they're going, and how could we build something that would serve all of them has really been the main factor in getting what we have today is there.
We have time for about one more question before we conclude our presentations today.
Okay, guys, ask it, or I'm going to ask. Where did you find out about the Opentron, Aron?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It's our industry partner in our advisory board say that, hey, we run an incubator and one of the company have no longer use this machine and want to discard it. So I was like, oh, well, give it to me, and then we get that. And then I try to, so we get a robot, but we don't have any accessory. So I reached out to the Opentron, and apparently they have this educational promotion that can give you discount, pretty handsome discount, So
Oh, they still do?
yeah, they still do now. So
Okay, I'm gonna
and
get
then
one.
they have a workshop and all that. So that just come from there. So
Now, don't forget, guys, please fill in the survey. We'd really appreciate it. And remember, we have these talks for you guys to connect, because the best way to connect is to see what people are doing and think about your next grants. Because remember, you never do one NSF ATE. You always build on the next one. Oh, look,
Question
Yingsu.
for Mia. I have a question for
Okay.
Mia. So what you have done is very much like a perfection of a protocol that can be done for grad school. What are your next steps? What are you planning to do?
With the project or just in general?
Just in general about your life.
Oh, so I'm currently a second year student at Pierce College. And right now I'm in the process of looking to transfer to a couple schools, but I do technically have another year because I'm currently a biomedical engineering major. So I'm not a biotech major, but Dr. K did an amazing job promoting it throughout campus. So and it's an amazing way to get into the lab, So yeah, I'm currently thinking of transferring and then moving on, probably an MD PhD track. If that
And-
answered your
Yeah, so what got you, so you're in a different major, but
Mhm.
the program attracted you to it, despite having to take more classes, I would think, right?
Yes, and there's Saturday, Sunday classes, so you're putting in your own weekends into the course, but the payoff is amazing. Networking, just learning how, the skills I've learned in this program have just exponentially grown my knowledge base and actually helped with other courses because as a biomedical engineering major, I'm taking physics, chemistry, we'll be taking biology. And it was a great way to I've never taken biology other than high school classes, and this is a bio-based class, but everything is taught to you that you need to know. So it's also a great way to expand knowledge in that sense as well.
Okay, thank you. We need to get more like you, majoring in something else, but taking biotech courses as well. I think we really need to, try to find out what that secret sauce is.
Well, I
get
think
political science major.
yes, that was cool. And I think Dr. K is doing a great job promoting it because I know I've roped in a couple people as well. I have a friend who's a chemistry major who got roped in as well. And I just think it's a biotech program, but I think it's adaptive to all science majors and even past science for people who are interested in just, being in the lab, learning skills and things like that.
No, thank you. Congrats.
Got a question for Aron? I'm sorry. Is he still on?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Excellent talk. Just to follow up the Opentron, the use of that, was that a way that is that a way that you could, through automation, avoids using a BSL-2 facility? Like, I guess if you have to isolate the colonies from the first inoculation, there's a concern of, let's say it's rolled out in a high school of people being exposed to that. Would you be able to just do the primary inoculation, then have the plate open through automation? How did you guys get it past that obstacle?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we can actually put what is that called, the like biohazard bag to contain all the pipette tips that they use. So by using OpenTron, you minimize the human error, right? So if you just do it in the student can accidentally throw the pipette tip somewhere else. That can be the major concern, right? So this is sort of like eliminating that part. But implementing it in high school, that would be interesting, I guess like in another interesting way to do it, if you can try. They also have this the HEPA filter also that provide sterile environment, so like sort of like mimicking this clean room type of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of things can be done with OpenTron.
Thank you.
So thank you again to our Project Talks presenters, Aron, Mia, and Karen. We really enjoyed your presentations. And again, Mia, I personally enjoy listening to students. And thank you, Aron, for bringing a student. Again, we have more Project Talks. I put the links in the chat for the upcoming Project Talks. Karen has another one scheduled coming up on alumni, the speed networking. And again, complete our survey as your schedules permit. I know a lot of people already jumped off the call. Thank you again. Everyone stay safe, warm, and have a peaceful weekend. Bye.